Yeah, I'm doing a presentation on design and influencing innovation and all the influences that go into creating technology and where designers fit in that evolution of technology. And so this was my semester pretty much. I took Info 103 with Paul Duguid and Jeffrey Nunberg, and I took ISF 100D with Gary Wren, and then Anthro 146 with Greg Niemeyer and James Holston. And I was also involved in Berkeley Innovation, which is a human-centered design group on campus in the Berkeley Institute of Design. And so, yeah, that's what my desk looked like every day. And on the left is class, and on the right is the creative stuff and all my sketchbooks, or some of my sketchbooks. And so I wanted to look at design through the lens of mobile apps because I'm really interested in how society seems to be turning towards a phone like controlled by our phones basically, and how much of an influence applications have on our daily lives and how important cell phones are to us. And so I turned to the Oxford English Dictionary for some basic definitions on inventors and designers and innovation. And it kind of seems to me that inventors and designers have become so far separated, and the whole idea that science and art are completely different concepts. And I wanted to point out the similarities that they both involve innovation and coming up with something new and surprising for people. And so I really like this picture, and this is kind of how I look at human-centered design, is that you have the science and you have the dreamy art, and human-centered design is understanding where society is coming from and linking the two of these together to create wonder and to create technologies that move us forward. And so I turned to Dieter Rams' 10 Principles of Design, which is pretty much a designer's Bible. And my favorite one is that good design makes a product understandable. And as a designer and focused on user interface and user experience, I think it's really important to understand all the innermost fears and enjoyments that society and consumers are feeling, and using that to design products. And then also that good design is as little design as possible, so making things easy to understand and not scary for society. And so my first class was the history of information. And on the first day of class, we were presented with this picture, and we were told that we were going to be covering everything from horse paintings to Twitter, and just the path of information technology, and what does information technology mean as methods of disseminating information and facilitating communication between people. And also, what's in an age? Why do we think of ourselves as this radically different information age, and how is it different, and how is it the same as past ages? And then also, how much does technology influence our cultural interactions? And so these were two quotes that kind of came up a lot in this class and that I found inspiring. George Young said that the central theme of history is not what happened, but what people felt about it when it was happening. And that goes back again to understanding everything that society is feeling as a designer and tapping into that. And then also, this will kill that, the idea that this new technology is going to wipe out everything that we've found comfort in before, and how to deal with that. And so what I learned by looking at all these technologies and learning a lot of stuff in a very little amount of time is that new technology is scary to people. this is kind of a frightening image of a precursor to a computer. And as a designer, innovation is rethinking the previous design. So the first picture is a tablet of writing, and then it goes to the Roman Codex, and then all the way onto our phones. And so design was used at all steps of the way to facilitate communication between people, and design was also necessary to make people feel comfortable with the new technologies. And so finally, design makes technology not as scary. And so from a societal standpoint, a lot of people were worried about books coming onto the internet, and we're going to wipe out all the comforts we've had from reading tangible books. And so design, as in this interface, kind of makes people feel comforted that there's still order and there's still similarities in the books. For example, when you read a book online and they still have the page flipping option, and how something as simple as seeing a page flip on your screen can make you feel more comfortable with that technology. And also how technology and communication, how they can support and amplify connections between people, but they can also transform and create connections between people. And where do we stand in this whole web of technologies and that sort of thing? And so my second class was ISF 100D, the Introduction to Technology, Society, and Culture. And it was really great because it went in parallel with my other class. And so we were talking about the same kind of topics at certain points of the semester. And we were covering a lot of big theories, such as social construction theory, and which basically means that technologies come out of social wants and desires, all the way to technological determinism, where technology is dominating all of our social interactions. And so looking at it from the standpoint of social media, I would say it's a little bit of both, that technology can be used to support everything that society wants, but then also it creates communities, and it creates our interactions. And so again, in design, we have to be aware of how people fear and how people feel about technology. And so this class basically made me look at technology in a different way. And so it made me realize that technology doesn't pop out of nowhere. And so I was really interested in Angry Birds because it's pretty much the most famous mobile application to date. And I never had really thought about this game before, but then after taking this class, it got me thinking about social and economic and technological influences, and the whole idea that there are many influences in any given technology. And so, for example, Angry Birds, it started as a bunch of sketches of angry birds. And how this game developed was, it was during the swine flu, and so they actually decided to make pigs the enemies in the game because of social fear of swine flu. And their company started up as a small startup, a group of people who entered into an HP contest for mobile apps. And so they came together with this concept based on pre-existing influences and the desire to create a game that was easy to play but hard to master. And so I thought that was really interesting, looking at all the background influences in this game, and then also issues and consequences that are raised by technology, such as when Angry Birds is the top paid iPhone app, what is that saying about our culture? And also, what kind of influence does that have on us? And what kind of influence does that have on future games that are being created and future applications? And then also maybe even privacy policies. And when we're playing these games and giving all of our personal information out, where is this information going, and who is in control of our personal information? Is it Rovio? Is it the third parties that they're working with? And so it raises some important issues that I started to think about on a higher level by taking this course. And then lastly, Anthro 146, which was Mobile City Chronicles, and this class was putting all that I had learned to use, and it was a really fun class for me. And so the class was about the gamification of your city and exploring your city through new technologies and new methods of being an urban detective, and using technology such as your phone to really get to know the place that you live in and to get to know your community. And so what really interested me was this little thing and how much of an influence this has on us, and also checking in and the culture of checking in. And it got me thinking, why am I checking in here to go eat at Strata or something, and why do I have to check in with my friends? And why do I care when I go on Facebook and see everybody's check-ins? And so this class got me thinking a lot about community space and the game Foursquare. I was really interested in this game and the concept that you can become mayor of Starbucks and be rewarded just by going there the most and checking in. And I found this really interesting social media, and I also found this website called Livehoods, and they use algorithms to track your neighborhoods and what's popular and what's unique. And it's kind of disturbing, but pretty amazing at the same time that technology can do this, and just how people feel about this technology is an interesting thing. And so I created a play on Foursquare because we were asked to create a rapid prototype of a game in this class. And so we called it Hip Square. And it was pretty much, a hipster's dream game where you prove that you're unique and different than everyone else. And it was great. So here's some mock-ups. This was the first step in the design process. And I pretty much drew some really fast little cartoons of a user experience and how in the same way that you would play Foursquare, you would also play Hip Square. And so, but there was little modifications, such as instead of checking in, you would discover a place. And down at the bottom left, I don't know if you guys can see it, but when this guy sees a crowd full of people, he wants to go to the cafe more so that he could be the mayor. Whereas this hipster sees a crowd of people and he's like, oh, this is too mainstream, I need to go discover a new place. And so there's a whole layout. And so basically we were gonna use algorithms to track what was hip and what was mainstream, and just kind of map out the city based on how cool you were, I guess. And so we kind of did, this was our rapid prototype. That's me being hipster in Canada. And so you could get badges, and there's a map of the city, and you have to put your current listening, your current music, and prove how indie and unique and underground you were. And you had to find places that had, you had to find new cafes that had things like soy Mexican hot chocolate and vegan lavash wraps, because that's important. And so the People's Cafe. And you'd get points for discovering places like that. And then there's a badge, and if you guys have seen Portlandia, we decided to go with a bird, because hipsters like birds. And so that was the game that I had a lot of fun creating that, and it allowed me to play with, the ideas I had about my own personal experiences being a self-proclaimed hipster, and also just getting at, just trends and what's cool and what's not cool, and just exploring your city through new means. And there's a mock-up I did really quickly of that. And then lastly, Berkeley Innovation, which is a group I'm involved in on campus. And what we do is we just meet and we design and we hang out, and it's a lot of fun. And this is what I took from this, is that great learning happens in groups, and I've learned so much from these people, and learning that design is just a long, ongoing process, and you're never going to be done learning, and so it's great. And so this semester, I worked with a group, and we decided to redesign a pop-up tent. And so this was our journey. So the first thing we did was we chose a user group. And so we decided to go to the farmers market. And we were walking around, and we were talking to them and asking, that's us, and we were asking them everything that bugs them and makes their job harder. And a lot of the responses were that the pop-up tents were just heavy and bulky and got in the way of them selling their produce, what they came to do there. And so we decided we wanted to make something out of this and kind of redesign it and make it more efficient. And so we got to work, and we ordered pizza and just a bunch of sketching and hanging out and talking and thinking about how can we change the design of this pop-up tent into something that's easy and approachable and desirable for users. And so what I learned was that whiteboards and Moleskine notebooks are your best friend. And you just have to do a lot of sketching and a lot of planning and a lot of coming up with ideas that'll work and some that won't. And we came up with this idea of a triangle tent, because we were like, why does it have to be a square? Why does it have to look like this? And so these are some sketches. And then create prototypes. So from those sketches, we created some origami-style prototypes out of paper that were really fast, and there's someone's fingers, and just a lot of playing around and, just exploring the unknowns of a pop-up tent. And then lastly, so you can build something innovative. And so this was our little prototype of what it could potentially look like, and we're still working on it, and I'm excited to see how it's going to turn out. But that was our process this semester, and so basically I've just learned that human-centered design is understanding the user and creating great stuff in collaborative groups. So that's it.